let me go to the next slide. Who are we? Yeah. Sangeet Kumar, he is the organizer and trainer for this Sundays with LWC, and he is a lightning champion and a software developer. Sangeet, you want to discuss anything about you?
Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining this call. Thank you, Sakti, for accepting the invitation and ready to give this session. So it will be very helpful for everyone, even for me also. So that's all from me.
Yeah, basically we'll learn together, we'll succeed. Yeah. Yeah. For myself, I am Shaktivel Mades. I am a senior Salesforce developer, and recently I am a Salesforce MEP also, and I am Lightning champion. Currently, I'm working as a Salesforce developer in TechForce Services here in Sydney, Australia. And you can reach me in the social channels, Twitter or LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm actively available. And today, Ajanta, as I mentioned, we'll talk about some debugging about LWC. Sorry, what happened? Yeah, debugging about LWC yes, and the error handling and Visual Studio Code tips. So, Sangeet, let's start, or we'll need to wait some time.
We can start.
Okay, fine. Okay, about this LWC debugging, there are two modes available, one for the production mode and another one for the debug mode. In the production mode, actually, the debugging will be vary based on your experience. So basically, in the debug mode, from the production mode point of view, it's you can debug from your browser, client side debugging using this JavaScript. If you are using the Google Chrome from the developer in the inspector tool, you can debug. If you are in the production mode, that JavaScript file will be with the minified version, and the returning value, all the API or track or wired properties, everything will be in the proxy values. So in order to identify the values, you need to do JSON stringify to get the result. And if you are enabling the debug mode from the Lightning and the setup, that will come up with the unminified JavaScript, and even that return the values with the proxy instead of the proxied values. We can get the regular return data as a array format. And the additionally, we can get some LWC engine warnings, the real-time engine warnings, so we can easily identify is there any error for the framework kind of thing if you are using the debug mode. I will jump on to my arc and I will show you how to debug our Lightning components. So this is my arc. I created one simple LWC component using the data table. Here I'm not enable the debug mode. It's a that means it's a production mode. So I will show you how to debug from the production mode as well as the debug mode. I'm refreshing my screen. And I'm clicking the right click and inspect. Suddenly my network is slow. Let's come. God, it's a bit slow. Yeah, it's getting loading. Yeah, it's loaded. So basically what I did was I clicked the right click and clicked and selected as inspect, or even you can select Control Shift I, and this will be coming over here. And if you select the sources, you will come to know all the lightning component or aura component, all the things. Let me pause it. Yeah. So if you come down the sources tab here, and if you navigate in the lightning and the under the modules tab, see in the subfolder, and all your lightning web components available. So if you are clicking here, let me show you. So this is the lightning data table JS, and this is the minified JavaScript. So that means in your IDE, this exact source not available. This sometime the variable will be renamed, or it will be optimized. The code will be optimized. Maybe in your original file may contain the multiple lines, but if you are checking here, it will be a single line. So that's called, it's a minified JavaScript. From here, let me try to debug. Like for here, for example, if I'm clicking the show all the checkbox in the corner, the left side corner, I will display all the records. So in that purpose, I'm called the one of the JavaScript method while clicking upon this checkbox, that is called show all. So here I basically I added the breakpoint. If we want to debug, so some case, suppose while clicking the show all button, it display all the account, but some reason it's not displayed, so you want to debug. So using this way we can debug easily, instead of going to check your code and add the console.log and blah blah blah. You can easily from the uh, Chrome browser or Firefox browser, you can debug. So basically I added the breakpoint here in the this account list variable, and let me select the show all button. See, it's getting stop paused for this level. So if I'm navigating to the uh, result, I'm getting the all the 14 result. uh, See here. Yeah. So if I want to print this array I want to reiterate, if we can go to the console, and we can check this dot account list. So that means if you see here, we are getting that return result as a proxy value. So if you want to further drill down and get the value, the exact value, so basically the value will be available, the return result value available in the original target value. See all the 14 results coming over here. If you want to print exactly, maybe we need to use JSON dot stringify. Yeah, stringify this account list. This is a variable. We'll get the nicely JSON format. So this will be a production mode. Using the production mode, we can debug. Let me show you the other way. That means debug mode. If in our settings, if you are typing the debug, we in the under the lightning components, we can get the debug modes. uh, I think you guys are very familiar about the debug logs. Using these debug logs, we can debug like all the Apex class or Apex trigger or DML operation or workflow or any custom validation or something. Using this debug log, if we enable any of the users, we can easily to download or view the debug log. We can identify for lightning component or lightning web component, using to the debug, we can enable using this debug mode option. Let me go to this debug mode and enable. Let me show you how to enable for the lightning component debug mode. So while in this page, basically it will be list out all the users from this particular arc. If you want to debug any of their users, basically I'm selecting my account. I selected mine and I enabled. So that means whenever I am running as my user, it's automatically enabled. It running as a debug mode. Let me show you. Let me refresh this one. So basically now I enable the debug mode. Now I am refreshing my browser. I think my network is very slow. Sorry guys.
No problem, sir. It's not your problem, it's everyone's problem.
Yeah, yeah, mostly everyone connecting from home, and even
Yes.
is today also Sunday, so
Yeah.
everyone maybe watching movie or something. Lot of stream. Yeah. See, if you noticed here, the debug mode will be enabled. Um, see here in the top of the thing. So that means once I enable the debug mode, as I mentioned previously, we are getting the JavaScript with unminimized mode. That means we can read the JavaScript as like our IDE, as like our the exact source, and also even while printing any of the variable, we can get the exact result. We don't need to do any kind of JSON stringify or any. We don't need to iterate with the extra logic. Let me show you here quickly. Again, under the source tab, the Lightning Web Component, all the Lightning Web Component available under the modules subfolder. If you drill down further, your exact Lightning data table component. Um, so click that one. So basically, see, it's look like how exactly your original file. Same way, it's available when you are enabling the debug mode. Let me add the breakpoint here again, this account list. So that means whenever clicking the show all, this particular method, the JavaScript control method fire and call the Apex class and retrieve all the account and stored in the account list variable. So that is the logic I implemented. Let me debug. So I'm clicking the show all. See, it's coming again nicely for the array format with the 14 result. Let me go to print this value in the console tab. If you want to print the value, go to the console and type this dot account list.
There's a double A, you have written double A instead of
Sorry?
while writing this dot account list, you have added two A.
Yeah. Yeah, see here for this mode, debug mode, while doing the debug mode, see basically while printing this dot account list, we can get the exact result. We don't need to do further add the JSON stringify. And additionally, using this approach, we can get like LWC warning results. So that we know, like if in case any errors from the LWC framework, we can know about the error details also. If you go further up, see here the warning from the LWC the framework component. If you can directly click that JavaScript, and it will be taking you for the exact places. So this is the way basically we can debug our Lightning Web Component from the browser level. And also one more thing I would like to highlight here. So if you notice here the three dot, go to here and select the settings, and basically you can just enable the custom formatters to get the nicely way for your return variable result. And other than that, I would like to highlight here, if you noticed here the block boxing, so these features are available in Firefox and Chrome also. So basically whenever any exception happen in any of your components in the library components from the Salesforce for aura.js or components, if you added that particular script that to skip the scripts, so you can use this block boxing to add your JS file while clicking the add button. So you can add your JavaScript file to skip or whenever it's causing like exception thrown by them. So this is the one thing I would like to highlight here. So basically to get, you need to go here the settings, click the settings, and utilize this option. Let me go to my slide. Yeah, these are the two things basically to debug your Lightning Web Component. And let me go to my slide. Yeah. For this error handling approach, basically this is the debugging to check from your browser to which way we can debug from your controller, like Lightning Web Component controller. Even the same Aura also, you can Aura component, if you are in the Aura developer, you can debug from the browser using the inspect from the settings level. Now the next topic I would like to discuss about the error handling. So basically here what I would like to highlight here, if you are working with some kind of integration project, and some error message, if during the integration we are getting some connectivity errors or some timeout error or whatever the error is coming. So basically that particular error you don't want to display in the UI. Basically from your business users, mostly they're not like a technical person. You can display a nicely error, but if you display all the technical error, then they not understand, right? So such a way basically you can capture the technical error in any of your custom object, and you can add all the errors, all like what you are passing and what response, the error response you received, and what kind of endpoint URL, and what is the method using or post method or put method. So these kind of error information you can capture in the Salesforce any of the custom object, and internally you can circulate whenever any new record, the error records created, any of your support team quickly go and check the error log and then identify where the errors occurs. So based on that, they can either they restart that server or something, or even if in case any existing system error or connectivity error from the external system, maybe we can communicate that external person, the external product person, to check this error, then they will identify and then they will resolve the issue. So kind of way we can do, because if we are not understand, right? So such a way I will implement it in my project I will show you. Maybe that will be help you. I'm not saying you need to exactly integrate the kind of error handling, but this is the one of the way. Maybe as per your requirement or your business users expecting, maybe you can also utilize this particular features. Basically I'm disabled now this one. So I guess you guys are understand about the error handling about the LWC. There are, as I mentioned, there are two way available. One for the production mode. I showed how to do the production mode debugging, and also while enabling the debug mode, then how to look like that error. We will get the error handling variables. So I hope you clear about that.
Yeah, Shakti, I have one doubt. If we enable this debug mode, our page performance will decrease. Is there any
Exactly.
impact?
Yes, exactly. If you are enabling the debug mode, your performance will be low, and the Salesforce also recommended don't do this one for the production. Also, if you enable this in your production, and make sure you will deactivate whenever your debug activity is completed. Yeah, definitely the performance issue will be a problem.
Yeah, thank you.
So I can quickly jump the next topic, right? You guys, you have any doubt about this debugging?
No, Shakti. We can go.
Okay, fine. Nice. Okay, while loading that page, yeah. So here, this is the let's assume I am calling any of the external system. For example, this one, I'm calling this COVID-19 API call to get the count for each country wise, like how many each country affected kind of API. In case in this while calling, I'm getting the errors. Data not available currently. Please try again later. So this is the friendly message we can display in UI. But if you are displaying this particular error message in the UI, something technically for the user, then it's really they will confuse what the server, why I need to restart, kind of confusion maybe happen, right? So to avoiding that, maybe we can display always the message attribute from this particular error JSON. Basically, whenever we are enabling any custom settings, for this example, I used one of the custom settings. I created one custom settings, a hierarchy custom settings. When we enable the users one particular checkbox, then when he trying to debug, then he will notify this particular additional message. Then so then the technical person knows, okay, the database is not synced. Maybe need to restart the COVID-19 server. So maybe he will communicate the external party and to restart, then it will be working fine, right? So such a way I implemented. Let me show you here. So this is the one again I implemented using the LWC. So this will calling to the COVID-19 one of the API and get the JSON format, and I'm using this lightning data table and displayed with all the countries. It's getting loading. Meantime, I will show you quickly the code. Yeah, this is the controller file for the LWC. So from connected callback, we call the method. From here, we call the COVID summary controller. This is, I use the Apex continuation. I guess you guys are familiar with the continuation method. Let me go to this controller. See, this is the method from, it's called from the LWC controller. See, this is the endpoint URL. So endpoint URL captured from the connector setting. This is one of the custom settings. We stored the endpoint URL in the connector settings. See here, I'm passing the get method and then endpoint URL and with the Apex class name with the method name. This will be capturing for the error handling purpose. So this will be returning with a success response. That's fine. If in case it's written as a error response this way, let's see how we are capturing the error thing. So currently it's working for this one. So basically I'm hided this endpoint URL. So I use the get sandbox and stored this exact JSON in the get sandbox. And whenever I'm getting this API endpoint URL, I received this error message as a JSON, and I will display it in the UI. I displayed the message, and also I captured in the logs file in the custom object as well. Let me refresh. While loading, so here this is the connector setting. This is one of the custom settings. Here we are captured the endpoint URL and method, like either get method or post method, like that. And another one custom settings, that is a log settings. If here is the place enabled the locker. Either we need to display in the UI for this additional error message or not. See, currently I enabled this user, so that means that additional message will be displayed. Too much slow. It's getting the error handling that API for this one get sandbox, and I'm getting this response. So basically I treated that these errors, and basically it default I displayed the message, and from the custom settings that logger is enabled, then I displayed this additional error message also. Still loading. Oops. I think I'm not saved. Sorry. Let me save this controller. While saving, I guess I will quickly walk through the code. So here it's while from the loading from the control, the JavaScript controller, we call this Apex class controller, and again here we are passing all the method, request URL, this payload, and Apex method name. and from this connection utility class, let me show you the connection utility class. Yeah, I opened here. So here we are forming all the HTTP related details, and we are passing the continuation method, and then finally we are getting in the if in case we are getting the errors here, we are passing this error information in the call out error handler controller from over here. So basically we are checking here, I am checking like what is the status code. If the status code is greater than 400 or less than 500, and I'm passing another error handler class with all the information like what is the endpoint URL, requested request payload and response payload. If I'm navigating to the error logger handler, so here I'm getting all the information and created in the error log object. Okay, I think the component saved.
Shakti, why
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
sending method name in the parameter?
So basically, let's assume we are working with one big organization. They're using multiple integration. Then in that case, as a developer, we come to know which particular integration is getting failed. So that's the reason we are passing the Apex class with the method. So this is the one of the COVID tracker integration. If that organization have the different integration, right? So basically we can come to know which particular integration getting failed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Let me refresh here.
Shakti, I have one
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
How to calculate this loading time, page loading time?
Page loading time, right? We are using basically continuation, right? So default it's 120 second. Um, if it is taking more than 20, then it's automatically coming down as a set timeout limit error.
How to check that page loading time?
Mm,
Normally, if you open any record, how much time it will taking? How to calculate that time? Is there any
basic,
tool?
basically, see the thing is we don't have any tool mechanism from the coding wise. Maybe we can add the start date and then end date, such a way we can come to know how many time limits or transaction will be going in between.
Yes, actually before calling API, basically Apex call, you can use your start time, and after the call is done, you can use end time, and you can
Yeah.
calculate times
Yeah.
basically.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
Java,
Correct.
the same we can use.
Yes. Yeah. That's a way. That is the only way. I'm not sure either any such a tool will be there or not, but I heard we have some tool mechanism, but that will be payable, I think, while testing with the performance testing. So maybe they will use, but I think that we need to pay some license. And see. See here, I displayed this is a generic error message, and you see here this is a message that data not available. So it displayed here data not available. So basically the business user will get only this error message, but technical person while doing the debugging, so that while enabling from the custom setting, we will getting the additional message also. And even from the log file also, from the error log, we capturing this error also from here. If I open this particular record, let me show you the field information. See here, we see here that we know the endpoint URL and which is the method we are using, and stack trace. So you asked, right, why we need to capturing the method name. So maybe we can easily track which particular controller and which particular method causing this this error, and also we are capturing the status code, the error code, and also currently we are not passing any request payload. So that's the reason here it's empty, and see here the response we are received as the exact response, this one. Yeah. So this is the way we can do customize our error handling. If in case we are doing some multiple integration, or it's not only the integration, maybe this particular approach we can use for whenever we are doing the DML operation from our controller, from the try catch, from the catch block, we can add this functionality also.
Shakti, just one thing. I wanted to understand why couldn't you use a named credential there instead of custom setting?
Yes, definitely. We can use the name credential, but time being with the short term, I use this custom settings. Here, this is the public API. We don't need any username and password credentials to get the record. So that's the reason we straight away I used with the custom settings. But if a security reason, if we want to pass username and password in order to connect with the external system, yeah, definitely we need to go with the named credentials.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one tool is there. One person was asking how to track the timing and other thing, performance thing.
Yeah.
So when I was in doing with the ASPX, there's a tool, Fiddler. Fiddler can identify which kind of request you are giving to server, how much time it takes, and how you can actually change those things. So we can utilize that part. Fiddler.
Okay. Okay. And even from the inspector also, we have that we have one more tab called performance something. We can utilize this as well. Yeah. So any question about this error handling?
No, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is the one of the approach. Maybe as per your requirement, maybe you can modify. You can implement this error handling scenario. It will be really useful as a developer when we are working as a big integration project, or big like any of the batch class. While executing, some cases it's getting failed, to identify which particular records getting failed. So kind of debugging purpose, it's really useful. Okay, let me go to the next one. Yeah, next one, it's a Visual Studio Code. Actually, everyone knows about that LWC. If you are working with the LWC, it's really mandatory to create your Lightning Web Component through Visual Studio Code only as of now, or any other editor. It's not available in the developer console. So that's the reason, as per my experience, I will show you some of the items. Let me go with my Visual Studio Code. You guys are seeing this icon, Arc browser?
Yes, yes, we can
Okay.
see.
So using this Arc browser, is we can get all the Arc retrieved component. If you want to perform any, you want to change any of the existing component, you can go and pick for that particular component. Or if you want to create a new component, you can straight away you can create. Instead of downloading all the component, you can pick the exact component. So that is the future for Arc browser. And this one test one, yeah, it's you can test for your Apex test, and also this LWC test. If you are installing that just framework, you can create the testing script for testing your LWC component. That is one thing. And other than that, I would like to highlight some few thing. If you want to set the themes, right, this is the one of the Visual Studio theme. If you want to change the color theme, you can go to the preferences and select the color theme. You can change the color theme, whatever you want. And other than that, the quick save, right, the Visual Studio Code, if you are not aware, basically whenever you are save, basically you need to right click and then deploy, right? Instead of that, maybe whenever you click the save Control yes, it's automatically deployed. The only thing you need to enable from the settings, again the preference, go to the settings, and here type the deploy. Yeah, if you are seeing here, the Salesforce DX VS Code core push or deploy, just enable this check mark, and whenever you are changing your component, either Apex class or Lightning Web component, and if you are clicking the save, then it's automatically getting deployed with the relevant arc. And other than that, one more thing, actually, recently even I learned, maybe I will show you. See here, basically whenever we are creating the controller or Apex trigger as a best practices, we need to add the comments, right? Comment, and whenever introducing the method and passing the parameter, we are adding in the method information, why this particular method, what purpose, what are the parameters we are passing, kind of a small description. We are following as a best practices. But it's very hard, right? Every time we need to type, right? So instead of that, the Visual Studio Code have the one of the features I recently learned, so I thought to share with you guys also. So go to the here, let me show you here. Click the Control Shift P and go to this command prompt and type the user snip. Yeah, this one, configure user snippet. Type this one, and here basically it's not only the Apex class. You can add this for your HTML, JavaScript, or CSS, all the files you can add. Let me show you here the Apex. So simply click the apex.json. So it's already there. Basically, if you click the apex.json, you already example will be there. You just add whatever you want. Basically, here I added the class and the method. Let me, before that, I will show you here. Let me remove this one. So in the top of the class, if I am typing as a class, see, this is the first one, it's coming, right? This is used in the snippet. Click this one. See, the automatically your the instruction will be coming there. So maybe you can add author, description, date, and comments, everything. The similar way in the method level also, if you type here method and enter, see the method information also you can display. So how to achieve? Go to here this Apex JSON. Just use this example, and you can pre-define whatever your name. I defined as a class. Maybe you can define your own, and also add the here the body. You can add whatever you want. So this is the one of the cool features in the Visual Studio Code. So then next one, what I want to show you, yeah. If you go here the files, okay, yeah, here under the scripts, right, under the script, here we can execute our Apex class method, or even we can do some code logic, and then we can execute as like we are doing in the developer console, right? So similar way we can approach here. So this is the one. So I just assigned some variable, and then I added the debug log. So how to execute this one is, so just to select your statement, which particular statement you want to execute, and then again go to the command prompt, Control Shift P, and here type sfdx, and execute, see here, execute anonymous Apex with currently selected text. So that means whatever the text we highlighted, that particular thing will be executing, and then the return result will be appeared in the output section. So similar way, let me show you first of all. Well, let's wait to execute. Yeah, it's executed. See here, as like the developer console how you executed, the similar way we can get that the debug log details and everything. And similar way, if we are executing the query, we can get the result in the output panel from the Visual Studio Code itself. Let me try to. I selected this contact. Control Shift P again. Here sfdx colon. Yeah, execute SOQL query with currently selected text, and here it's asked to select either this particular query execute in the REST API or tooling API. So I'm selected the REST API, so the return result will be appeared in the output. Yeah, it's the query executed, the return results will be appeared such a way. So the thing is, whatever the query, complex query or whatever it is, you can store from these files actually, from the developer console. If you are writing the query, sometime it will be cleared, right? So instead of that, we can maintain all our query in the project perspective. We can reuse whenever we want. Anything I want to show you here? I think, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, can you? I forgot it actually. Can you tell me how to enable auto save code format?
Yeah, sure. Go to the see here the settings icon right here. I'm highlighting here.
Okay.
Click this one and click the settings either this way, or click the file and go to the preference and click the settings. Okay.
It's a code for. It's a code format.
Which one you are asking about? That
first line is, for example, XYZ. Second line is you given spaces and enter 10th text to you 10th character you started. So on clicking save, Control S, so automatically that total entire code needs to be come in one line, auto save.
So that means it's automatically deployed one, right?
No.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Okay.
So
This one?
so for example, second line number 21. Okay,
Okay.
starting give space
Okay.
before that colon, starting line.
Okay.
Yeah, space, give space,
Yeah.
2 more space. So once you save this file, okay, so automatically I want to come 20 and 21 in one single line, like 21
The
22,
same
yeah,
line.
like 21 22.
I'm not sure.
Sakti, I
Once.
think he's looking for auto format on save. So I think what you can do is,
Yeah.
can you go to setting, a scroll
Yeah.
setting file
Yeah,
in the
settings.
project folder. In the project folder,
Okay.
yeah. Click on VS Code, the above, the second one from the top,
Yeah. Yeah.
and click on setting.
Yes.
And in the setting, just on the top, you after comma, can you enter a new line?
Let me enter here.
Yeah, after line number 6 or anywhere, wherever you want.
Yeah.
Okay, and write editor. Editor.
Editor. Huh? Okay.
Yeah, editor
Yeah.
dot
Yeah.
format on save.
Format and save. Yeah.
Yeah, is
That
equal
is
to true.
true.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It will enable the auto format for the whole project.
Okay. Let's try it. So I'm saving it. Let me try with any of our controller.
Can you refresh once?
Um.
Can you go back to that setting file once more?
Okay.